Saturday Social is powered by FIFA 22 with PlayStation.
We spoke a little bit about Newcastle last week, but it's such a big story, this. And, of course, first game this weekend under new owners. And we have got our all expenses spared new Saturday Social whiteboard. There you can see. So we're going to put it to good effect today. Now, Zac, we're going to give you the role of Newcastle United sporting director, which I'm sure you'd like. I mean, it's a big role, that.
I'm free. I'm available. I'm available.
Yeah. So Zac's going to be the sporting director. Do you want to explain how it's going to work? He's got a big role to play today.
Yeah, it's a big task. It's a big task. I'm not going to lie. What we've asked Zac to do is go away and prepare one player from each Premier League team that he thinks Newcastle United could realistically sign.
Not Ronaldo.
Next summer.
Chill out, leave him alone.
So they've got big money coming through the door. You're picking how to spend it, but we've asked one player from each club. Now, we don't know who Zac's picked, so we're going to be finding out at the same time as you guys.
Live, Harry.
Home.
Live.
I'm excited to see HP's
He's going to make a mess of this.
I want your reaction, HP.
No, he's going to make a mess of this.
I want to know if you think it's going to be realistic
and
if it's a good move or not. Should we just start alphabetically?
Let's.
Go on then. So Arsenal first, Djellab.
Arsenal. Now, I know the whole point was me picking one player. From the off, I've given you two options.
Oh, my God.
What did I say? He's going to make a mess. I told you.
Harry, we want your honest opinions on his choice.
All right, cool, let's go.
Now, my realistic, 100% that I think this could actually possibly happen is...
Can't get the magnets off.
Yeah, it's
panicking already.
Xhaka.
Oh, my word.
Xhaka to Newcastle. However,
explain.
I also went Emile Smith-Rowe.
Oh, Zac.
Are you okay?
Such a bad start.
Are you okay?
My thought process was, look, okay, if Newcastle were going to spend big on one player, they want it to be young and have a good future in the Premier League.
He's just signed a brand new long-term contract and given the number 10 shirt.
I think we need to bring Harry Pinero in because your reaction. The floor is yours, Harry.
This boy is they call him the future of Arsenal. The Croydon De Bruyne. He's not going anywhere.
Well, that is why I then also brought
just get rid of that.
I believe what I was saying.
Get Emile Smith-Rowe away. He's not going Newcastle.
Have some respect on the boy.
Realistic. Why
Newcastle.
Xhaka then?
I just think he is already a Premier League kind of ready-made midfielder for Newcastle. He's a step up if they're trying to go into that direction of eventually trying to battle for European places with this money. And I think Arsenal would also be willing to kind of get rid of him for the right price.
Yeah, they tried to this season, didn't they? I think he signed a new deal, though, didn't they?
If the money was right, I think he'd happily move to Tyneside.
Okay. So Xhaka, I don't think it's a great start. HP, what are you rating that as
Absolute horror show. But let's see, he can redeem himself.
Okay.
He can redeem
Next
himself.
up, we're doing this alphabetically, of course. So Aston Villa is next. Who are you picking and why, Zac?
John McGinn.
Oh, my word.
Now look,
wow.
What is in that? What's in that?
It's just water.
Not a peppermint tea.
But if Newcastle are wanting to try and improve...
He loves to pick up his own joke.
It's good, isn't it? Good. Anyway, if Newcastle were trying to improve their squad and want to get into a position of essentially where Aston Villa are right now, why not take one of their players?
Okay.
If you offer them the right fee, again, 50 million. Let's say 50 million John McGinn right now. Would Aston Villa take it? I think so.
I think John McGinn's a good player. Yeah. And I do think, with Villa are a great team, but I do think that he could play in a better team as well. And I think if Newcastle were to go around buying big players and
building
whatnot,
this project,
it would balance out the team having a player like John McGinn, because he's not a name brand player, but if you've watched him play, he is an elite player for the team.
And you've got to think as well, when Man City first were doing their business, they were still signing some fairly strong names.
Yeah.
Robinho, Gareth Barry, Vincent Kompany came through the door fairly early. Joe Cole came to Chelsea.
Varane, wasn't it?
Sean Wright-Phillips, all these sort of players were coming into both of those sides. And
he works hard as well.
Do you know what I think is really interesting with this is, like you mentioned Man City and Chelsea, is that the first signings almost set the tone to the type of player that they can establish. I think Vincent Kompany, for instance, was one of Man City's earliest signings, or a huge marquee signing early, and I just think that will have a big impact on the rest of the names that could follow, depending what angle they go down. Because you hear Newcastle, they want to spend money on the community, they want to spend it on the training ground, so I think it will be fascinating to see who their first few signings are, and also that sets going forward.
Do you think John McGinn would join Newcastle? I feel like John McGinn, if he was going to leave Villa, is aiming straight away for a Champions League ready side, because does he want to drop down and have to work his way back up?
It is a good point. However, would a Champions League ready-made side like, say, I don't know, Manchester United, Man City, whatever, be going for someone like John McGinn?
Well, I think he's not far off of the radar.
I think he's a great player. Honestly, I've watched him and been very surprised with how consistent he is. But I think what Zac's saying, I don't think he'll be able to get into one of those teams now, especially with.
So join Newcastle. You're there for 2 years. You're in the Champions League in 3 years.
Wow, that's brave.
Okay.
Zac is predicting Newcastle to be in the Champions League.
Let's go with the next
direct.
team.
Okay.
The next an interesting one is Brentford. Now, I think we can all agree Brentford have been such an entertaining team
Stunning
to watch,
start.
done really well. So who are you picking?
The star man.
Wow.
Ivan Toney.
Look, you've got to be making some star signings, right? And he is going to be leading your attack. He's going home. He's going back to Newcastle.
Oh,
I was going to say,
shout.
bearing in mind he's already been there and obviously he's now playing regularly. There's talk about, a lot of people are saying if he carries on his form internationally, that'll help him as well. Where he's at Brentford, he likes the club. You think he would be open to moving, do you?
Yeah,
to
for
Newcastle
sure.
if
I
they came
mean,
in?
I think it's got a very nice kind of storyline towards it, going back home, proving that he can do it in Newcastle. I think for ages there was questions, can he be this Premier League striker? He's obviously shown he is a Premier League ready-made striker. And obviously Brentford themselves look pretty good. They're not, but in my own opinion, I don't think they're going to be going down this season. And if he can improve on that and go to a club that has a good project, which Brentford do themselves, to be quite fair, but like Newcastle with the owners, and again, for probably get a decent pay rise too.
Definitely a decent pay rise.
Yeah, got good money.
I think Brentford is
How much
not
do you
a
think
bad
he would
shout.
cost? How much do you think he would cost?
I would say there's maybe like a taxed on than maybe like a normal kind of striker with him. He is a guy that is still relatively young as well. He's not necessarily reached his prime just yet, so he's going to be costing 50. I think maybe
quite a lot of money.
a little bit more.
Inflation.
And I think, do you know what Newcastle might struggle with is people know they're rich.
Yeah.
So people will
An
just
extra
run
10,
up the
15
prices
million
just
pounds
on them.
on
Oh,
top
you
of
want
it
that?
just
We
because
know
of
you've got the money. So okay, let's go on.
Can I just get Harry's quick opinion on Zac's sporting director role so far?
Do you know what? It started off horribly, yeah, but it started to make sense. So I feel like this is going to... And I trust Zac's football knowledge, so we'll see how this goes.
Come on then.
Well, okay, Brighton again. Kind of the same issues I had with Arsenal. I've got 2 players
Oh,
here, so
my
I need some help.
goodness.
He loves
No,
it.
you
I
guys
love
have a
it.
word.
By the way, we pay per magnets. This has cost us a lot of money with 2 magnets. This wasn't part of the deal.
I'm the sporting director. I'm now talking to my team, right?
Okay.
This is a team effort as well.
All right, so this is a team effort between you. HP's now being thrown under the bus with Zac.
Yeah. See what you're trying to do here?
So I've gone with Dunk
Okay.
and Lamperty.
Okay, now,
Ooh.
that's a good one. Because Lamptey, for me, unfortunately, got ushered out of Chelsea because of Reece James. I think he's an amazing right-back, and I think if he wants to get that, take it into that next level, which Newcastle, if the money goes the right way, will go to, he'll be a great right-back for them.
So should we give you the deciding option?
I'll go with Lamptey, 100%.
You go with Lamptey?
I'll go with
All right,
Lamptey.
let's put
All right, let's put Lamptey on. We've got to move on because we've got a lot of clubs to still go to.
I think it's worth shouting as well, though. Dunk, fair enough. I think, especially with the back line, maybe the improvement, but we'll get to that. With the
Okay.
Burnley next, if alphabetical order, if I've got that right. In my head, is that right?
Indeed.
I'm hoping there's a centre-back coming here now, potentially.
Tarkowski. And whilst you're there, pick up Ben Mee.
Yeah,
Why not? Do a 2-for-1 deal.
They're both
Do a
out of
2-for-1
contract
deal.
in the summer. James Tarkowski,
Exactly.
I think, out of contract in the summer. And I did read a report in the Telegraph this week that they have a gentleman's agreement to let him go in January if the right offer arrives.
Well, you know how these gentlemen's agreements go,
Yeah, very true, very true. But I think that's a very smart shout.
Yeah.
And
James
is that of all of them so far, possibly the most realistic? Obviously,
100%.
we don't know if he wants to leave. He might, he's happy at Burnley. But do you think that's one that could happen if Newcastle came in?
Yeah. I think with Burnley, they're a team that are kind of like they're there and thereabouts and whatnot. But you can see there's some quality players within that team, and he's definitely one of them. And I think he'll do great at Newcastle.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. Stick
Put
him
him
up.
on.
Stick him up. That's a really good shout. I like James Tarkowski's shout. Already just started to dip off as well, like line-wise.
Fix it for me. Fix it for me.
Right, now the next one's interesting because it's Zac's team he supports.
Here we go. It's not another two, is it?
He's probably got 3.
It's 2. I can see it's 2.
Again, I'm coming to the board.
You're beloved
I need some
Chelsea.
advice, and just because I'm on the payroll for Chelsea, so I can't necessarily give it one.
Name drop.
Zac's got
guys, I work with Chelsea.
He eventually worked for Chelsea more than 4 times, and he's sweating about this. Look.
Conor Gallagher and Ross Barkley.
Ooh.
Now, Conor Gallagher, I think this season, and last season, to be fair, at West Brom, even though West Brom did get relegated, was fantastic. This year, he's proven again how great he is, and he's already a Premier League ready-made player. My worry is when it comes to at the end of the season and he comes back to Chelsea, is he going to be starting every week for the Blues? And he's a player that obviously will have intentions to make the England team, and he needs to be starting week in, week out to do so. And I don't know whether that would happen if he goes.
Doing well for the England under-21s, isn't he?
Exactly. And so if he goes and looks at the Newcastle project and they come and they offer enough money that Chelsea are happy with.
And we know Chelsea don't mind selling academy players.
No, it's in their DNA.
HP's very. So who do you prefer, HP?
For me, I think Ross Barkley. Only because I think Ross Barkley has proven himself in the Premier League. And
Not played for a long time, though.
You'd pick Ross. If you're Newcastle right now, you'd pick Ross over
squad player, because I don't think any of these players are going to be the main starting players if they was to start. I think, for me personally, I think with Newcastle they want to make an instant impact.
Would you be going for bigger names in this board then? I mean,
no. For now, I think you've got great squad players who have got great potential here. You know, you've got Xhaka, who's obviously experienced. Lamptey, I think, has got a great career ahead of him, and you've got proven players of. But I just think in the midfield, you need someone who's, can do the job, and I think Ross can.
I think that's so brave. I just think Conor Gallagher this season he's been...
Yeah, he's had a good season.
Because also, when I was looking at the other Chelsea players, I thought it's going to cost you a lot more money to maybe go. Hakim Ziyech maybe even kind of went into my mind when I was thinking about these players. And I thought you offered Chelsea 40 million for
That's a lot of money. You sold for more for 28.
Very good point. That's a good point well made. I would probably preference Conor Gallagher.
I think Hudson-Odoi, someone that's is a quality player but isn't getting loads of game time. We know that other teams have been linked with him.
Don't know if Chelsea would sell after having an offer of 80 million from Bayern Munich. I don't know whether they would get that same offer and if they would then be willing to sell for a lower price that they were offered 2 years before.
All right,
got to push you for one of them.
I'm going Conor. I'm sorry.
I have to. Okay.
Cool. Doing it that way.
Next one then. Let's fly through him because we're lagging behind.
Okay, Crystal Palace. Wilf Zaha. Ooh. Every summer. This is
the first real, not superstar, but star name, I would say. The biggest name so far, I think, in terms of signings.
It seems as if, Zaha has always kind of wanted to move that next level away from Crystal Palace. And whilst they have got kind of a lot of... they're going into a new era now. 28 years old, he's at that time, he's in his prime. I think the Newcastle project is perfect for him and somewhere where he can kind of obviously be loved by the Newcastle fans, but also have a few years as they're developing into becoming a bigger club, and he can have a big say in that.
HP?
I agree. I think every year I think he's going to go somewhere. Doesn't, and I think he's proven himself at Palace. Like he has been their star player for years, innit? And I think this will be a good choice for him. So yeah,
okay.
I agree.
Next up,
first one I'm actually really confident.
First one you're confident. Okay, Everton next.
Everton.
Who are you going with Everton?
Tough. I'm quite tough at Everton. And I'm not going to necessarily say he's a star player, but I also looked at the other guys like Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I just didn't think they would sell to Newcastle and whether they would go to Newcastle just yet. So I went with Andre Gomez.
Oh,
not necessarily a star, I'll agree. And if you guys maybe said there was another suggestion, I could also possibly be swayed.
I think this is one of the hardest clubs.
It is. That's why I was intrigued. I think it's not an easy one.
Jordan Pickford also came into my mind, possibly, if they would like.
He's a Geordie as well.
But
so
would he be willing to maybe go, back home and also maybe try to the project?
Former Sunderland player.
Very true. So Gomez was the only one that I could really think of.
Okay,
I'm happy to any other.
We're happy to bow to your knowledge on Gomez and move on because we got to flick through him.
Yeah.
Okay. We go on to again. Now this for me was the toughest one. Leeds I found really hard because there were players where say like Rafinha, who I thought is fantastic and really good. His next level isn't Newcastle. His next level isn't Newcastle.
Oh, no.
It's higher. I've gone Patrick Bamford.
I knew he was going to do that.
Wow.
HP, let's get an immediate reaction.
Yeah.
You think that could happen?
I think it could happen because with Bamford, I think he's such a great striker. And I think with Leeds, he's doing so well there. But I think there's a level he can go even higher. I don't think he can get into any of the top 4 teams right now because everyone's got a good striker. But I think if there was a project there working for Newcastle, he would 100% be a great striker. Guy gets goals.
I don't know whether he would leave, though.
Yeah.
It's my only worry.
You're not spoken to him? But
not spoken to him. I haven't sent him a message or anything. But because I think he loves playing for Marcelo Bielsa.
I agree.
He loves everything
I do
he
agree with that.
He kind of at times he's kind of the main goal scorer for them.
And he's had times where he's not been able to fit into the right system and the right club. He's gone around the houses, hasn't he? He was at Middlesbrough as well, don't forget. So he has spent some time up there. But I think Leeds is perfect for him.
Bamford and Tony.
Knowledge.
Look at that, Bamford and Tony up front.
Bamford and Tony.
Well, this one's going to be interesting, I'll tell you, lads.
Go on.
Oh,
Leicester City.
Oh, I'm dreading this one already.
Go on.
Jamie Vardy.
Oh my God! I'm close to walking up the steps. I'm close to walking up the steps.
Wow,
I'm close to walking.
What are you doing?
You've
got Vardy, Tony, Bamford. Firstly, how are you going to keep them all happy?
Well,
secondly,
I want to say when I first got told about this, I said, "Oh, is it am I signing for one position?"
No, it's not. It's not.
So
because you're not going to sign 20 players, so you can pick.
Vardy.
Yeah, but that is a ridiculous shout.
Right? Look,
Vardy's Leicester.
Look, I agree. But Jamie Vardy is coming towards the end of his career maybe now. I don't know how long he's got left in the Premier League or so. And a final payday up at his project, he could be there for the first maybe year or 2 years at Newcastle whilst they're, building around making this club back to what it once was. And I think Jamie Vardy could be that man. I also think Leicester have already started thinking about the replacement of Jamie Vardy. Iheanacho's in now. Daka has come in during the summer.
Vardy's 34 though, Harry. He loves Leicester. He's
having a nightmare.
I think he'd love Newcastle as well, lads.
Who would you have picked from Leicester then, if not him? Because potentially James Maddison's still floating around, has struggled a little bit.
I would have went someone like Tielemans.
Season.
Tielemans, yeah.
I would have went.
Wow, that's a big.
Do you not think his next level is the Champions League?
For me personally, I don't think Tielemans has proven himself in the Premier League to the ability I think he can. I think
that's a big claim.
Yeah, I think indeed he's proved himself more than Tielemans has. I think if you want to pick between one of them two, you'd pick Ndidi every day because of his consistency. I think he needs to be go through something very hard like a project, and then we can see how good he is. Because even for Belgium, I don't really see too much of him there as well. So for me, I wouldn't have picked Vardy. No way.
Vardy's a brave.
Vardy is a big shout. So can he redeem himself with Liverpool?
Liverpool was also quite tough as well because a lot of their players are
Howler again.
No.
Go on, who you go with?
Are kind of above the level of what Newcastle is now. So I've got Naby Keita.
Ooh,
Isn't necessarily he's not playing week in, week out
is.
for Liverpool right now. A project like Newcastle, where he'll be one of the main stars in that midfield. We know there is a great player in Naby Keita. He just needs to feature more. He needs to be playing more game time to kind of get the best out of him. I think Newcastle would be perfect for that. Again, he's also still relatively young. He can be there for a long future. Link up with already the stars there. That is Alan Saint-Maximin for the next couple of years. And I think Naby Keita would be a pretty good signing. I think Liverpool would also, for the right money, be willing to sell him.
Okay. Put him on, Zac. You're doing such a good role as sporting director. We need to go straight to the next one because you're giving us such detailed reasons for it. So,
apologies.
Go on, next ones.
We've got two again, fellas.
Go on.
Manchester City.
Duo again.
Now,
Team one.
Go on.
This is big.
Look how nervous Zac is, by the way.
Because, one is Ake.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that.
I saw that one.
I can see that.
That's
not a dreadful shout.
Okay.
Yeah.
One's Raheem Sterling.
Harry Pinero, talk to us.
I don't think I can. Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling is at one of the biggest clubs in the world. Why is he going to go back down? You know how great Sterling is. You should have just went with Ake. Because Ake doesn't play that much. He's probably not going to get as much games as he should. Ake makes more sense. Why did you do that?
Why did you bring it up?
Why did you do that?
We all praised him for Ake.
You started off so well. Howler.
I actually forgot I put
realistic as well. You've got to say it's realistic.
Put it up for your sake. Put that up and go to Man United.
This is the one for HP then.
Okie dokie.
Bearing in mind, two Man United fans in the studio, Joe and
Let's see if
Pinero.
HP can guess it.
I think he's got Martial.
Oh.
Donny van de Beek.
Oh.
All right.
HP.
For the purpose of the fact he has not been playing as much as, we signed him for what I thought he was going to sign for, I think this makes sense. I want to see the boy play. I think he's a class player. We saw what he could do against the top teams. Had an amazing game against Real Madrid home and away. And I think he should definitely be able to play. And I think a project where he's playing football will do him the world of good. Do
you think a Jesse Lingard, something like that? We saw him have a really successful loan period at West Ham, which helped him get back into the England squad. Do you think that will be a kind of player that Newcastle will target?
100%. I think with Jesse, he's proven when he went to West Ham how influential he can be. And for Man United, I think he has been a very consistent player. I think it just hasn't worked out for him as much as he would want to in terms of game time. If you give Jesse games, he's going to prove himself. He does it for England. He does it he's done it for West Ham. So I think wherever Jesse goes, he will be able to play well.
Okay. Right, next up, who you got?
Norwich. Todd Cantwell.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a good shout.
I think there was a few. Also, I thought Max Aarons could be a possible shout as well.
Yeah.
There's a few players in that squad.
Exactly. And I think, obviously, with the way things are looking for Norwich at the moment, he is definitely a Premier League ready player.
100%.
He's been out recently with injuries, but I think Newcastle, as I said, the project that we've mentioned a few times, he is the perfect player for that. He's someone that can be developed into. He's got many, many years before we see his prime version of himself, and that can be at Newcastle.
And I think there's quite a few good young sort of names. Lamptey, Todd Cantwell, Gallagher. Even Donny's quite young. So what's the next one then?
James Ward-Prowse from Southampton.
Ooh. Just signed a new contract.
Yes.
Just signed a brand new deal.
Southampton fans love him, don't they?
But again, I was looking at Southampton. Unless I was going to go for maybe Tino Livramento, who's at right back, who they've just signed.
Good player.
Or maybe Armstrong up top. I wasn't really too sure who I could pick. Whereas we all know what James Ward-Prowse is about.
Love how he strikes the ball over a dead ball. His technique's unreal.
Brilliant.
Here we go. This is one for Smithy. Can you guess?
I can't. Go on.
Dele Alli.
Okay.
I
can see that as
am
well.
a big Dele Alli fan. I have
so
to
am I.
admit it. And I think, in my opinion, I think Dele needs a refresh. I think he needs to go somewhere different and maybe with a new set of challenges to get back to his best. I think we saw during that second season when he was kind of playing second striker how good he can be.
The 2 goals against Chelsea.
Yeah, indeed. Brilliant, well done.
Thoughts on Dele?
Thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think he hasn't had the best of times at Spurs for the last 2-3 seasons. He hasn't been the Dele Alli that exploded on the scene, and I think him going to Newcastle, maybe the pressure will be a bit less on him, and the eyes will be a bit less on him because there'll be a flux of good players. So yeah, I think Dele Alli, he has got talent, but he just needs to show it again really more.
Okay, last couple then.
Watford. Ismail Assar.
Had to be.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say there was a lot of players I could have picked from, but he is one that's brilliant. I actually think his next step is maybe maybe not Newcastle just yet, but eventually, if the money goes well, like an Aston Villa kind of team where he can build himself, he can take himself to that next level, and then maybe take the next step up.
Him and Sam Maximan would be a frightening.
Oh, Lord.
Those two
Racist.
combined in the same side. Same as like Wolf Zaha and Sam Maximan would be a seriously tasty prospect.
Okay, West Ham.
Yeah.
Fabianski.
I think that's an awful shout.
Say what you think, Joe.
That's such a bad shout.
Yeah.
Number one, I think he's ageing. I'm not overly convinced he's better than what Newcastle got now.
Really?
Yeah, I think Dubravka's a really good goalkeeper. And there's some, like, West Ham, like...
You're saying there's some better options that Zac could have picked.
Why did you pick him that experience?
Who would you have gone with then? Go on, who would you have gone with?
I would potentially maybe have gone for Kufal, right back. I think would have been a
Kufal.
fairly decent shout. Like I think he's one of the better right backs in the league. Whereas I think Fabianski and Dubravka, they're like.
See, I rate Fabianski a lot higher than that than Dubravka. I think Dubravka is an okay Premier League keeper, but Fabianski I think has proved himself, especially over the past couple of years, that he can be one of the better Premier League.
Ariola's come in now though.
Exactly, precisely. That's my point.
You think
They'd be
it's
willing to
realistic
sell
they could
him
get
as well.
Yeah, okay.
Realism. That's what this is about.
He's a good keeper, Fabianski.
You see that? Realism.
Just not having it.
Last one.
Not having it.
Go on.
Wolves. And we've got 2 again, fellas.
He doesn't realise that we have to pay per magnet, Zac, does he? Go on. Who you got?
Adama Traore and Ruben Neves.
I knew it.
Ooh. Go on, Harry.
I'd pick Neves.
What reason?
Because I think if you're looking at the wingers that you've picked anyway, you've got, Sir Maximin's there already, Zaha, and I think Zaha for me is better than Adama Traore.
Sar's there as well.
Sar's there as well. I think Neves is a composed player. I think when he's on the ball, you feel like there's control. Players will be moving because they know that he can pick a pass. And I think again he's proven when Wolves were a scary team, he was part of that team that was doing it. So
Are you going with Zac?
I'm happy to go Ruben Neves completely.
All right, so there is Zac's completed board. So they are 19 players from all the other 19 clubs. Of course, the other one's Newcastle that Zac thinks they could realistically target. Let us know on social media what you think of Zac's picks. Got to say, Zac, fair play, not an easy task.
Yeah,
and well on Harry as well for giving your honest input on that.